The new setup. Oops, we didn't do that bit. The new setup for Farm Sim 22, where you can start with $1.5 million. You can buy some big fields and actually go fully professional. You know, don't bother with the tractor hauled harvester for sugar beets, but you could go whole hog professional sugar beet harvester setup and really make a huge start, because you're just pulling the stuff out the ground as efficiently as you can. I think sugar beets, of the major labour crops that you can do, like potatoes and sugarcane, it's probably the easiest of the three, but it does give you still a big boost to your income over normal grains. But you'll be special, it'll be a specialist farm, sugar beet farm. You could do the same with potatoes, as I said. I don't mind the big self-propelled potato harvester. It's definitely a lot better than the tractor hauled stuff that we can get our hands on. And come on, we're in the middle of a patch of blah. And there we go. Same with cotton. You could actually be a cotton farmer starting out in Farm Sim 22. I don't think that's been as easy an option here, where you start off with 1.2 million. And the problem with those crops is you kind of need a big field or two in order to make it worth your while to sink that much money into your equipment. Same with grapes, same with olives. You can definitely make your way with those, although the harvesters are going to cost you a pretty arm and a leg, and to rent them is 25,000. That's generally not a good thing. So you can't do a small field and rent the equipment, because if you do, you'll never cover the cost of rental. And I think that's a problem with Daggerwin's Oberon series, where he's doing a little bit of everything, and his little bit of olives isn't covering the lease on the olive harvester. Now that he's doing olive oil, he's barely covering the lease. But he's not really making any money out of the deal. He's just covering the cost of renting the harvester. Fortunately for him, his great harvester was 50% off used. So it hasn't mattered quite so much that he doesn't, the income from grapes isn't that great. Because he owns the harvester, so he's not paying for that every year. But if all you've got is small fields, then renting that expensive harvesting equipment is just a bad idea. And as I said, this is working for us now. Not the greatest. I mean, I would love to get the self-propelled harvester. As I said, it's 495. Do we have... we've got the Terravelis. No, that's not. There's a Terrados. It's either a T430 or a T340, something like that. Which is a little bit smaller than this, and does cost a bit less. And it's not actually a bad harvester. it's still got good capacity. So, how much is the potato one as a matter of interest? I didn't look at that. Yeah, the potato one's $500,000 as well. So, they're not something I really want to look at spending $500,000 on this farm to acquire. I would much rather spend $500,000 on land and increase the income that the farm can make. On the subject of increasing the income that the farm can make, one option is I really shouldn't be doing sheep, because sheep do not make a lot of money. Even 100,000. 100,000. How many sheep do we have? 1,000 sheep. We have 1,000 sheep getting on for. And meat sales we make about 80,000. Wool sales we make about 60,000. It's horrible income. And Edgar's Weekly, welcome to the stream. Yes, we are still playing Farm Sim 19, although probably not for much longer. It does look like we are getting the first FS19 DLC and a patch upgrade which will fix a lot of the bugs that are causing me issues, at least. But no, wool is a very poor income. I mean, Farm Sim 17 was awesome because I'd wait for a great demand, and you could sell a pallet of wool at £7,000 per litre, or $7,000 per 1,000 litres, and the pallet was 2,000 litres, so you're talking 15,000 per pallet, which is awesome income. They halved the income per 1,000 litres, and they halved the pallet size for Farm Sim 19. So the pallets are only 1,000 litres, and the income's only 2,000 per 1,000 litres, and great demands aren't nearly so great. So the income from wool is poor, and it takes a lot to ship it to market. Now I have downloaded some mods which we have active on this farm, which do make for a little bit of a difference. Make it a little bit easier for us. One is an auto-load wool trailer, which basically has wool pallets in the back of, or it has empty pallets in the back of it. And when you drive up to a wool spawn point, it sucks the wool into the trailer, and we'll show you that when we get back to the farm. The other thing is the large capacity wool pallets, and I have 6 32,000 litre pallets of wool. Part of the problem is with fields of 500 sheep, they will fill up this spawn area in 12 hours. This wool pallet will hold, as I said, about 32,000 litres of wool, I think. So I can leave that in there all day and it's fine, and I've got 3 spare over there. But the other major thing we have going, which was quite a late patch for 19, is this thing. Now these pallets I think are only 1,000 litres, but there's 8 of them, and it's an auto load, so all I have to do is hitch this back to the Land Rover or a tractor or something, drive past the wool spawn point, and it will suck all of the wool out into those pallets, and I don't have to lift pallets onto the back of trucks. Now obviously with 32,000 litre pallets that we have over there, I can lift 3 of those onto the back of a truck and take it down to the wool sell point, and it's all nice and quick and easy. Whereas loading, 96 pallets onto the back of a flatbed trailer was an absolute nightmare, and they frequently fell off and fell over, and it was just a mess. Now, I do agree that with the fabric factory, it's probably going to be easier, because each factory you introduce into the production chain seems to add about 50% to 100% of the value of the crop. So you could sell your wheat at $500 per 1,000 litres, or you can run it through the factory and sell your grain at the equivalent of $1,000 per 1,000 litres of wheat that you've produced. And if you make it into bread, you'll add 50% or double it again, so potentially $2,000 per litre of wheat that you produced in the field. Now, different productions reduce how much is produced. So, for example, I want to say 5 litres of wheat makes 4 litres of flour. So 1,000 litres of wheat makes 800 litres of flour, but the value of the flour is, makes up that difference. So you've only got, whatever. Some things like canola is 2 canola seeds equals 1, or 2 litres of canola seed equals 1 litre of canola oil. But the canola oil is worth 4 times what canola seeds are worth. So while you've got 50% yield, you've still got, effectively double the value if you can make 1,000 litres. If you understand my math and what I'm trying to say. But, so productions are definitely a thing to get into, but they do cost a bit. And it does take time to recoup the cost of building the production. And then you've got the rate at which the production actually works to factor in. It seems to me, for the most part, oil mills and grain mills tend to turn over production very, very quickly. Now, the value of the crop you're putting in, and thus the value of the product you're getting out, isn't very high. But one of the things that seems to work out quite favourably for you is if you harvest a field of wheat, your wheat has just been produced at the worst price possible for the wheat. It also happens to be the worst price possible for flour at the time. But you can take your wheat down to the flour mill, you can leave it there for 6 months, and you will be hitting the maximum value of the wheat. So it kind of allows you to not necessarily have a grain silo on your farm, instead have a flour mill, and you store all of your wheat in the flour mill, and the flour mill will convert your wheat into flour, and at the time that the highest value happens, it's probably processed all of the wheat. So your grains aren't sitting around doing nothing. They're increasing in value by sitting in a production facility. The problem, I think, possibly with fabric and definitely with lumber, is those factories have such slow production that going into a logging operation and just doing logging, you're going to be sitting around waiting for the sawmill or the IKEA factory, to produce stuff. So that's the limiting factor on your income, is the rate at which the production runs. So fast production, it's going to turn over stuff really quickly. It's not necessarily going to be super profitable, but it's going to make you money over the time. With something like a sawmill, you probably want 2 or 3 if all you're doing is running a lumber, forestry operation. So, I don't know. And we're not moving. And we're still not moving. Let's go. Oh, okay. Oh, come on. Okay, let's disconnect it. Reconnect it. Turn it on. There we go. I don't know what that's about. So yeah, and actually I am now drawing to the end of my cow testing in Farm Sim 22. I've been messing around, seeing what the relative productions of cows is. Basically, if you want dairy cows, you must feed them TMR. Cows do not produce milk if they're not fed TMR. So if you feed them hay, you're never going to see milk. So that's something to be aware of. If you're doing beef cattle, you don't need to feed them TMR. Hay is sufficient. Oops, and we are filling up again. Basically, I'm looking at the value of cattle when fed with TMR and when fed with... I did do grass, but grass just really don't bother. But hay and TMR produce the same value cows if you want to sell them. TMR fed cows produce more slurry, and they produce milk, which hay fed cows do not produce milk. They do produce slurry, but less of it. So you can do a beef cattle ranch and just do hay. You don't need the TMR mixer or anything else like that, and it will work fine. You will make good money. But after 2 years, dairy cows maximize value. Their value is 1,500, whereas beef cattle after 2 years are worth 3,000 each. Beef cattle carry on increasing in value, but at a slower rate after about 3rd year. Dairy cattle do not increase in value, so the maximum they're ever going to be worth is 24 months old. One of the interesting things I did do, because I was originally testing with grass, grass-fed cattle are not worth anything. They don't produce milk, they don't produce much slurry, they're really just poor examples of cows. But now their health is 0%, they will not have babies. So no breeding with grass-fed cows. So that's another thing to be aware of. So after 18 months, if you want to breed cattle, you must feed them hay or TMR. Hay takes about 2 to 3 months to raise the cattle health from 0% to 100%. TMR increases their health to 100% immediately, and that 100% is they immediately have maximum value. So what you could do is buy age 0 cattle, for dirt cheap, feed them grass for 19 months or whatever, or 17 months, then feed them TMR for 1 month, and they will be maximum value, maximum health, and will have baby cows. So, you know, it's the one time you could get away with feeding them grass is when, well, they're not going to produce anything anyway for the first 18 months, so why am I feeding them the best food? Let me feed them grass, because all I need for that's a mower and a collection wagon, and we'll worry about getting them the best food later. And I think, you know, it's kind of a valid option, but then once cows start, you know, get to 18 months and start producing young, you kind of don't want to do that anymore, because while the young cows only need grass, the adult cows are now going to need at least hay, if not DMR, in order to make cow babies and you know, increase your flock size, herd size. So that's kind of a thing. I need to get the challenger out of the way. Dude, back up. Oh, one more load of beets and we are heading back to the farm. How does this field look? It's still depressingly full. Oh, and you don't want to move again. And you still don't want to move again. And back up. And oh, there we go. Okay, the reason I'm doing this is each dot of sugar beets on the field is about 50 litres, I think, or something completely ridiculous like that. So it is actually worthwhile picking up every single piece you can. You know, if you look at it and say, oh, I just missed 3 dots, it's no big deal. But no, that's a couple of 100 litres of sugar beets that you missed there. And I probably shouldn't lift the thing, because it looks like I'm still hitting bits here and there. So we're at 3, 6, 17. I think we got 2 coming up. 6. Oh no. Anyway, once we've done this, I can go back to shoveling the rows again. What I might do is briefly stick this on a worker while it heads across the field, and go check on our potato harvest, see how that's getting on. So what have I noticed? So one of the nice things about Calmsden is it has got 2 placeable areas, much like this map has. They are incredibly expensive, about 600, 700,000 each. So you're going to have to make do with pretty much no production at the start when you start off, and then work your way up to it. Okay, what are you doing here? You've actually done quite a good job, apart from missing that whole bit there. The problem here is we are going to need to supervise most of the rest of this. He has missed a couple of rows, obviously. Ooh. on the whole, I would say this is not entirely a bad job here. He really doesn't want to dig that bit, does he? Oh. How about we lift the weight, drop that, we turn that on, we start driving. And turn that on. There he goes. So yeah, like I said, we're probably going to have to come down here and fix some of this. But for the most part, he's done a pretty good job. Yeah. If we look at the field as is, I mean, we're 70% done, I would guess. So I'll leave him to it. We will check on this. Still fermenting. Okay. Whatever. Where's my tractor? What? You made it all the way over there. I'm kind of impressed. I think because he didn't make a full working width row. I'm going to have to reverse this in. So long hauler's not around today to comment on my grain cart positioning. Anyway. Okay, he's full. I can start this heading back to the barn. As I said, I doubt we are going to get much more than the bottom of the street before he's full. And then I'll need to turn the worker off because I don't want to be paying for someone to just sit in a tractor and wait 10 minutes for me to get back. But yeah, I'm still not sure about doing a Calmsden Saturday series. Basically because so many other people are doing YouTube and Twitch streams. However, that said, our Saturday stream is a long-term series, so whereas most people maybe run for 2 months and then they move on to something else, because obviously there's lots of new maps on the horizon. The Old Stream Farm is being tested currently by Giants. I think it's on their console testing list now. So I assume that means it's passed the PC tests. And, is it Green Valley or something like that? There's a couple of American maps on the horizon. So I expect a lot of people to move off of Calmsden and do something else. So, since I tend to play these Saturday series for long periods, we'd be looking at almost 2 years. And I doubt anybody would be playing Calmsden Farm in 2 years' time. Pretty much like Marwell Manor on 19. Who's playing Marwell Manor these days? They played it for the first couple of months and then moved on. But the other question is does it have enough in it to keep the story running? This is a big map. It's got some big fields. Calmsden is kind of limited.